You skipped breakfast because someone said it would burn fat faster. You forced yourself through hunger. You watched the number on the scale barely move, or worse, creep upward anyway. And somewhere in the back of your mind, a painful question started growing. What if my body is working against me? Stay with me, because the answer is far stranger than most people ever realize. The biggest lie in modern dieting isn't that calories don't matter. It's the belief that eating less automatically tells your body to burn fat. Sometimes, it tells your body to protect it. That's less. Why two people can eat the same amount of food and end up with completely different results. Not because one has stronger willpower, because their biology is hearing two completely different messages. If you've ever blamed yourself after another failed diet, I want you to hear this. Your body wasn't broken. It was responding exactly as it was designed to. Here's the critical thing to understand. Your body isn't trying to make you thin. It's trying to keep you alive. Those are not always the same goal. Imagine your body as a city preparing for an economic crisis. When resources seem uncertain, the city doesn't start spending its savings. It freezes construction, cuts maintenance, protects emergency reserves. Your fat stores are those emergency reserves. When your cells believe a famine could be coming, every system begins acting differently. The surprising part is, this decision happens long before you consciously feel anything changing. Deep inside your cells, hormones are constantly reporting what's happening outside. One of the most important is insulin. Most people think insulin only controls blood sugar. It does far more than that. Insulin is like the city's supply manager. When it constantly receives confusing signals, long periods without food followed by oversized meals, chronic stress, poor sleep, it struggles to predict what comes next, and uncertainty changes everything. Here's where it gets counterintuitive. Eating less doesn't automatically create safety. If your body senses unpredictability, it often becomes more efficient at conserving energy. That means fewer calories burned without you even noticing. You feel colder. You move less without realizing it. Your brain quietly encourages rest instead of activity. It isn't laziness, it's survival. Researchers at Harvard and other major institutions have spent decades studying how metabolism adapts under perceived energy shortages. Again and again, they found something fascinating. The body doesn't simply count calories, it interprets them. That's a completely different process. Most people never realize this. Your cells are listening to patterns, not just portions. When those patterns suggest danger, another powerful biological pathway begins shifting. AMPK. Think of AMPK as the city's emergency energy director. When fuel becomes scarce, it starts making difficult decisions. Some are helpful. Others become a problem if the signal lasts too long. Initially, AMPK encourages efficiency. That's smart. But if stress, poor recovery, and inconsistent eating continue together, your body starts protecting every possible resource, including stored fat. And here's the thing nobody tells you. AMPK isn't making these decisions alone. Another pathway is quietly entering the conversation, one that decides whether your body focuses on growth or survival. Scientists at the Salk Institute have spent years exploring how these nutrient-sensing, pathways communicate inside every single cell. What they discovered completely changes how we think about fat loss. Because sometimes the pathway you believe is helping you is actually preventing your body from feeling safe enough to let fat go. And that hidden conversation inside your cells is where everything changes. That hidden conversation has a name, mTOR. Most people have never heard of it, but it quietly influences whether your body builds, stores, repairs, or conserves. Think of mTOR as the construction manager of your cellular city. When food is plentiful and life feels predictable, it gives workers permission to build, repair, and grow. That's normal. The problem begins when mixed signals arrive. Here's the part nobody talks about. You eat less during the day. You become extremely hungry. Then dinner turns into the largest meal you've eaten in 24 hours. Your insulin surges. mTOR suddenly receives a powerful "resources have arrived" message. But your stress hormones are still elevated from hours of restriction. Your body hears two completely different stories. One says, build. The other says, protect. When survival signals win, your body becomes incredibly cautious with stored fat. Not because it wants to frustrate you, because it believes uncertainty is dangerous. I know, that sounds strange. But your body has been shaped by thousands of generations that survived famine, not modern dieting. Here's what changes everything. Instead of convincing your body that food is disappearing, you want to convince it that energy is predictable. That's the biological shift. Start your morning with 25 to 35 grams of protein within 2 hours of waking. Eggs, Greek yogurt, cottage cheese, tofu, or a protein smoothie all work. Why? Protein helps stabilize blood sugar and reduces dramatic insulin swings later in the day. Around midday, take a brisk 20 to 30-minute walk after lunch. Nothing extreme. Why? Your muscles immediately begin using circulating glucose, making insulin job easier while activating AMPK in a balanced way instead of through severe restriction. Stay with me. This is the part that matters. Don't let dinner become a reward for surviving the day. Build a meal around lean protein, vegetables, healthy fats like olive oil or avocado, and slow-digesting carbohydrates such as beans or sweet potatoes. Why? This combination delivers steady energy instead of sending your body through another cycle of feast and famine. And here's one habit almost everyone overlooks. Protect your sleep. Aim for 7 to 9 consistent hours. Reduce bright screens during the final hour before bed. Why? Better sleep lowers cortisol, and lower cortisol allows your cells to shift from constant defense toward repair. That nightly repair is where long-term metabolic health is built. None of these steps work because they're magical. They work because they send the same reassuring biological message every single day. You're safe. Energy is available. You don't need to cling to every stored calorie. That's how trust is rebuilt between you and your metabolism. Clean signal, steady rhythm, repeat. Your body wasn't fighting you. It was protecting you the only way it knew how. And once you understand that, every healthy choice begins stacking on the one before it. Not overnight, but day after day, your cells become a little more willing to repair, a little more willing to spend energy, and a little less afraid of letting stored fat go. The surprising part is that fat loss often begins long before the scale reflects it. It starts the moment your biology believes the emergency is over. But one hidden hormone can still override every strategy you'd ride, even if